Hello, everybody. This is AK. I'm back. So, interrupting my usual gaming schedule to bring you this special morning video. Uh, Breaking news on OCBC. OCBC increased dividend by 5% year on year, right? Declared a dividend of 42 cents per share, right? This up from 40 cents a year ago. Right, so it's a 5% increase, and this makes me happy. Full year dividend per share is therefore 84 cents, which is an increase of some 21% from a year ago. Payout ratio is at 53% of net profit. Only 53% of net profit. So they are pretty conservative. So they retain 47% of net profit. So the bank becomes more valuable as an investment, right? Over time, like I've said before, because they retain a big chunk of their net profits. Of course, we know by now that the fantastic results of 2023 for all three local banks were mainly driven by higher net interest margins, or they call NIMs, and it's the same thing for OCBC, higher NIMs across all its markets. Net profit was in excess of $7 billion, and that's up 27% from a year ago. So very steady net profit growth over the years, but last year saw a big bump up because of fantastic NIMs. And I also like that OCBC has managed to grow its profit from a cost control perspective. It continue to drive costs lower and has a lower cost to income ratio of 38.7%. And then we talk about something which has been on many people's mind, and which might be one of the reasons why OCBC trades at a cheaper valuation compared to DBS, and that is people are worried about OCBC's exposure to China, because everyone knows that the current CEO and the previous CEO of OCBC put a lot of emphasis on growing their presence in China to capture the wealth management business in China. And I have said before that OCBC anticipated the problems early on, just like DBS did, and limited their exposure to the troubled Chinese property sector. Right, and this one we can see in their numbers. Their NPL ratio, or non-performing loan ratio, is at a very manageable 1%. This is unlike the Chinese banks, which has much higher NPL ratio, right? And OCBC. So I mean, we have evidence to show that OCBC, like DBS and UOB, right? OCBC is well capitalized and well managed, right? And so I'm not worried. I invest in OCBC with peace of mind, right? And of course, then we talk about net interest margins coming under pressure, But like I say, if that interest rate comes down, then correspondingly we'll see our interest rates in fixed deposits and all that will come down. So funding costs will also come down. And usually you see that coming down even faster, because the savers usually get the short end of the stick first, right? And so I say, even as net interest margins come under pressure, OCBC is expected to perform relatively well. And they should continue to pay attractive dividends, right? This is especially when the 53% payout ratio is pretty undemanding, right? And in terms of valuation, OCBC is similar to UOB in that it trades at 1.1 times book to value. It has a P ratio of around 8 times. But compared to UOB, it has a more attractive dividend yield, right? Like 6.2%. So when to buy more OCBC shares, right? The last time I bought more OCBC's common stock was middle of last year, between $12 to $12.30 per share. And I talked about it back then also. I say, around that kind of price points, good to add to OCBC, and readers who have bought more back then would be sitting on some pretty nice paper gains. And of course, if they are like me investing for income, then they'll be enjoying a very attractive dividend yield. In a recent video I produced, I said that immediate support has moved higher, right? About 12.60 per share, and this has likely moved higher again to 12.90 a share, which is where we find a rising 50 days moving average if we look at the charts, from a technical analysis perspective, right? Personally, because OCBC is already my largest investment, I'm in no hurry to add to my position. But if I have zero exposure and I really want some exposure, at the moment, from the charts, I'll say that I would buy some on a possible pullback in the stock price to under $13 a share, or in fact like $13 a share is not too bad an entry price, just to get a foot in the door. Don't throw in everything, including the kitchen sink, right? That's just me talking to myself, of course. If AK can do it, so can you. Bye bye.